smaller combat force on the ground. They are not in control of elements that they were supposed to be in control of, and the defender progressively realized that the aggressor was serious. So as this escalated, these mercenaries, who were normally used to kicking a door in and finding me and my wife half naked, with our kids screaming in the other room, instead, they were fully clothed, standing on their feet, and they were in their own home. So they were able to do what they were supposed to do. The only problem I have is, again, there are other actions that should have taken place instead of allowing their wounded to fall back and allowing them to escape. I believe personally there are a couple of things here I could throw in. They had run out of ammunition or expended most of their munitions, wasting it on the people that were inside of the building. They were stunned because they did not expect an attack. And in the videotape, what told me the most about that, if you watch the one piece, one ATF agent standing there just like this. I've seen it before, like battle shock. He's looking, and somebody says something over here, and the guy in front of him, there's no organization, there's no coordination. The guy's standing there with a gun to his side, and he goes like this. Like he doesn't know where the hell he's going or where the hell he's been. And the guy that's in front of him is holding the shield like this, like here's a threat, and he goes like this with the other guy. And then he doesn't know where to go. He doesn't know what to do.
So you see most of them hide behind a truck.
Right, well, cover and concealment, protect thine own ass first, as they say.
Yeah, right.
And the dead offensive marksmanship is typical, too, yes. I think I hit him. That's right, I think I hit him. Well, maybe I didn't, but let's do it some more. The problem with that is it's like Hollywood. You can only do that so many times, and eventually there's no more to do. Which again gets back to accuracy. Boom. And it's done. Yes.
And I'm kind of aligned with the question that was earlier. If we ever do have to deploy, in some type of way-to situation, the only way I see it is that we end up being used as like a wall, and we almost say to them, if you want this church or wherever, you have to go through what?
The problem is that there are going to be two elements involved. There's an overt element and a covert arm. And I really wouldn't want to. We'll discuss privately what the objectives are and how it has to be done. But the technique is not only complicated, but what needs to happen is that you have to have your best fighters positioned properly. And again, patience is the key. Haste makes waste and usually gets people killed. Okay?
That comes across to me when doing something like that. It's like basically choose to stand there. You see who blinks first.
That's right.
Kill you that way for propaganda too.
Yeah, but then the problem is that propaganda also backfires, allowing more people to worship God.
Oh, that's another thing. The next time the media won't be there. One thing I'll remind you of at the very end of the siege, if you watch in the videotapes of the burning of the buildings, if you look, you can identify 3 separate ATF or FBI camera crews filming the burning. You watch, in one scene alone, you'll see one guy with a camera unit like this filming all of the burning rubble as it's burning in the first stages, and another guy is about 15 feet to his left with another camera doing the exact same thing, panning all the wreckage while they're shoveling it into the building. Videotaping everything. I said this before, this is the best proof of who fired first and what happened. If the government were in the right, the government confiscated every piece of video footage from the attack. They could demonstrate their quote-unquote innocence by simply showing the cameras that were running from the moment they jumped out of the cattle cars, not just the little bits and pieces. That's why they had to edit it. But what showed me the obvious fact that they were lying is when they got to the explanation of what happened at the very end, after everything was done. If you'll remember, not a single piece of photography or videotape footage was used at all. That tells me that if they knew that if they'd opened up that Pandora's box, that the first thing that I'd do if I was standing there and say, I'd like to see the rest. When do we get to see all of it? You see? They wanted everybody to ignore the image. Information that was needed by the people to put these people in jail instead of the people that they tried to put in jail after the siege. And so that must be remembered by everybody. Where I do say this, I'll say this again. I don't mean to do this to the guys who run the cameras here. Rule number 1, shoot the cameraman. Okay, don't let him get away. I'm serious. You see him in a tree, you see him on the ground, shoot the cameraman, get the camera, it's got the evidence. And then run with it. Take a courier, throw him in whatever direction is safe, and have him run with that technology and get out of the area. Escape with it. Reproduce it. These things are terrible. You can copy, can't you?
Yep.
That's got to be done in the future. That's if we think we'll be able to fight legally. I don't think it'll be possible after this, because they cannot afford another situation like that to develop. So they won't let it happen again. Not the way they did.
I have another question that's important from your aspect being militaristic minded. If David Koresh should have been allowed to write a 7-seal manuscript as agreed upon, everyone would have come out. What do you think would have happened to the evidence, to Mount Carmel, to certain people, well, to the survivors that would have left the building? If that scenario were to have happened.
If they would have allowed that, it would have been a bad situation for the Fed, and that's why they couldn't. I said that before the siege really developed. Once that incident had taken place, they could not afford to let the people. They had to continue to compound the situation. They could not afford to let them leave unless they could force a situation that would destroy the physical evidence that would damn the government on this. They had to have the fire.
Yeah.
And the fact that when you see in the footage the tanks with tanks are pushing the wreckage in, that's all I needed to see. Law enforcement officers are told to preserve the scene of the crime. If that's the case, and ATF agents supposedly were running the dozers and the combat engineer vehicles and the flame projector units and whatever, the chemical warfare units, then their job, knowing what they did, was to make sure that that building did not burn to the ground. If there was debris that was compromised but outside of the area of destruction, it was to be left there. I'll give you the best example. Anybody ever seen a plane crash?
Yeah.
After a plane crash, we'll take chunks of metal the size of my thumb and piece them back together to find out what happened to that plane. And with modern ballistics and with modern thermal technology, we can identify exactly what happened to that plane. And that thing is a hell of a lot worse than a building burn. Because you're talking itty-bitty bits and pieces of people, parts and components, and the ground mixed together. And they'll take a hangar and they'll commit months, if not even years, to develop a scenario to understand what happened to that wreckage. So here we have a situation where many people died, and yet conveniently the government just made a bunch of little oopsies. That doesn't happen. And I said this the other day, and I'll say it again. If you have an employee that makes these kinds of mistakes time and time and time again, it's about time you fired him.
That's right.
That's simple.
I cry for my country, for the pain that it's been through. She's been made to suffer for the profit of a few. Storm clouds are forming, winds of change now touch our shores. Our hear forefathers are crying as the dream's been crucified.